Today we are going to discuss Insights IS Prelims Test Series for 2019, mock test number 1 from question number 1 till 25. First question, Arctic greening is attributed to which of the following reasons? A. More regular commercial ship sailing, B. Global warming, C. Ozone hole formation, or D. Erratic ocean current flow. So the correct answer is global warming. So here in justification they have given that the Arctic greening is a term related with carbon dioxide fertilization effect, and the carbon fertilization effect suggests that with the increase of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, there is an increased rate of photosynthesis in the plants. So you can read more about it here. We'll proceed to next question. Question number 2. Consider the following statement. Pitt's India Act of 1784 was the first step taken by the British government to control and regulate the affairs of the East India Company in India. No, it was Regulating Act of 1773. Second statement, in 1858, in the wake of the Sepoy Mutiny, the British Crown assumed direct responsibility for the governance of India. Yes. Third, various features of the Indian Constitution and polity have their roots in British rule. Yes. Fourth, a Supreme Court at Calcutta was established following the Charter Act of 1833. No, this is wrong. It was again with the Regulating Act of 1773, and in the year 1774, Supreme Court was established in Calcutta with one Chief Justice and 3 other judges. So the correct option is B, 2 and 3 only. So you can read more about it here. We'll proceed to next question. How the China-Pakistan economic corridor will be useful for China? A. CPEC will allow Chinese energy imports to circumvent the Strait of Malacca. The Strait of Malacca is between Malaysia and Singapore. And South China Sea routes, thus avoiding any potential confrontation with the USA. Yes, correct. Second, CPEC will provide China an alternative and shorter route for energy imports from the Middle East, thereby reducing shipping costs and transit times. Again, this is also correct. So the correct option is C, both 1 and 2. So it will pass through Pakistan from Gwadar port till the Kashgar in Kashgar, which will touch China, and it is the last point of Pakistan. So here it is the map, you can see. With reference to zoonosis, a zoonosis is any disease or infection that is naturally transmissible from vertebrate animals to humans. Yes, after the Kerala floods, so it was quite a news, the spread of such diseases, zoonosis diseases, which is transferable from animals to humans. So yes, this is correct. Zoonosis can be caused only by either virus or protozoa. So if in any statements strong words like only, always or never are used, so such statements are usually wrong. Not always wrong, but usually wrong. So it is not caused only by virus or protozoa, it is also caused by bacteria also. So it is caused by bacteria, viral and parasites and other conventional agents also. So zoonotic diseases create obstacle to international trade in animal products, obviously. So the correct answer is C, 1 and 3 only. You can read more about it here. Question number 5. Which of the following are in the line with the larger ideology of pacifism? So what is pacifism? Which preaches opposition to war or violence and settling disputes by means of pragmatism or principle. So this is the meaning of pacifism. So the first statement, opposition to war or violence as means of settling disputes, correct. B, sticking to principle rather than pragmatism, wrong, because it follows principle or pragmatism both. C, aversion to modern nation states, military institutions and intrusion in other nations, correct. So the correct answer is D, A and C. So those who believe, like Japan and certain countries, those who believe in pacifism, so they do not interfere into other countries, and they do not use their military institution and all to justify war as circumstances and would harm any other country by being a warmonger. So you can read more about it here. Next question. Avidi session of Indian National Congress was famously known for A, adopting a resolution to establish a socialistic pattern of society, correct. B, publishing the Magna Carta of a libertarian democratic framework for India. No, this is wrong. So let us read more about it. The famous session of the INC was held at Avdi in January 1955. This was a historic meet, emphasized the importance of socialism and its impact on social development. So statement 1 is correct. Jawaharlal Nehru with Morarji Desai and other Congress leader at AICC session declared that a socialistic pattern of society was the goal of the Congress. So this was the basic philosophy of INC, and it is not possible to pursue a policy of laissez-faire in industry. It is incompatible with any planning, and it has been long been Congress policy that basic industry should be owned or controlled by the state itself. So this policy holds the most progressively given effect to straight trading should be undertaken wherever the balance of advantage lies in favor of such course. A large field for private enterprise is however left over. Thus our economy will have a public sector as well as private sector. Next question. Swaraj is an analogous, in the previous question there was nothing called Magna Carta of libertarian democratic framework for India, so nothing was such decided in the Avdi session of INC which happened in 1955. Next question. Swaraj is an analogous concept of freedom in Indian political thought. Which of the following are the ideas related to Swaraj as outlined by Gandhiji's? So first statement, it is Swaraj when we learn to rule ourselves, correct? Second, Swaraj is not just freedom but liberation in redeeming one's self-respect and capacity for self-realization from institution of dehumanization. So correct. Third, understanding the real self and its relation to communities and society is critical to the project of attaining Swaraj. Again correct. Fourth, sacrificing oneself for larger cause is Swaraj. No, this is not correct. Apart from the last one, all the above three are correct. So the correct answer is A, 1, 2 and 3 only. So you can read more about it here. Next question. The Karakoram Pass, a mountain pass between India and China, is closest to Tawang. No, because Tawang is in Arunachal Pradesh. B, Kargil. C, Srinagar. D, Katgodam. So the correct answer is Kargil. So I'll show you in this map that Karakoram Pass, if you can see, so the Karakoram ranges passes through Kargil, which is like which acts as a border right now with Pakistan occupied Kashmir and the Kashmir side of India. Next question. Consider the following statements about the role of various members of the Constituent Assembly and the interim government of India. First, on the advice of Mahatma Gandhi, Ambedkar was asked at independence by Congress to join the Union Cabinet as Law Minister. So first statement is correct because earlier Ambedkar was against the Congress. Like it was against means it was in the opposition party, and Ambedkar was not a part of Congress. But on the advice of Mahatma Gandhi, Ambedkar was asked at independence by Congress to join the Union Cabinet as Law Minister. So this is correct. Though he was earlier not part of Congress, he was in the opposition party. Second, as the President of the Constituent Assembly, Rajendra Prasad moved the objective resolution in the Assembly. No, it was Nehru, Jawaharlal Nehru, who moved the objective resolution, which later on became the preamble. Third, Aladi Krishnaswamy Iyer, who served as the Attorney General of India, was also a member of Constituent Assembly. Though he was a member of Constituent Assembly, but he was not Attorney General of India. Fourth, B.N. Rao, a civil servant, served as the constitutional advisor to the government of India. So this is correct. He was a civil servant, and he only helped, he and along with him one more civil servant was there who helped the Constituent Assembly in framing the constitution. And here in the third part, Aladi Krishnaswamy Iyer was Advocate General of Madras. He was not the Attorney General of India, he was an Advocate General of Madras. So you can read more about it here. The correct answer is B, 1 and 4 only. 10th question. Which of the following factors make helium-3 a fuel for the future? A, it is not radioactive and waste-free nuclear energy can be generated using helium. Correct. Second, it can be used for fusion reaction without obtaining dangerous nuclear byproducts. Correct. Helium-3 is abundant on Earth, similar to other emerging fuel like thorium. No, it is not abundant on Earth. It is in heavy supplies at Moon. So with ISRO's second mission Chandrayaan-2, they have found huge deposit of helium-3, which is a waste free nuclear energy that could answer many of the Earth's energy problem. And approximately 1 million metric ton of helium-3 embedded in the Moon, although a quarter of that can be realistically brought to the Earth. And the statement 1 and 2 that I have said, that is correct, because the isotope of helium could theoretically meet global energy demands for 3 to 5 centuries. This kind of energy is also expected to be worth trillions of dollars. One can expect that helium-3's value is about $5 billion a ton. So since the isotope is not radioactive, it can be used in fusion reactors for nuclear energy without dangerous nuclear byproducts. So you can read more about it here in the mechanism, how it functions. Question number 11. As per the liberalized remittance scheme and the rules issued therein, consider the following statement. Under LRS, all resident individual can freely remit a certain amount of money overseas every financial year for a permissible set of current or capital account transactions. So this is correct. All resident individuals. So it say resident individual, correct. If says Indian citizens only Indian citizen, that will be wrong. But if it say all resident resident individual, then it will be correct. So they can freely remit up to a certain amount. Yes, that is $250,000 every financial year for a permissible set of current and capital account transactions, like for education, health, etc., and for maintenance of their relatives. So they can send the money outside the country. Second, individuals cannot open, maintain or hold foreign currency accounts with overseas bank for carrying out transaction. No, they can open their account overseas. Third, remittances cannot be sent for trading on the foreign exchange markets. So again, this is correct, because you can send the money for, like there it is given, like remittances are permitted for overseas education, travel, medical treatment and purchases of shares and property, apart from maintenance of relatives living abroad, gifting and donation. Individuals can also open, maintain and hold foreign currency account with overseas bank for carrying out transaction, but they are not permitted. For what all things they are not permitted? The rules do not allow remittances for trading on the foreign exchange market. So on the foreign exchange market, or the margin or margin calls to overseas exchange and counterparties, and the purchase of foreign currency convertible bonds issued by Indian companies abroad. So all these things, you cannot send money outside as in the form of remittances. So you can read more about margin calls. I have made a separate video on margin calls, so you can see what are actually margin calls. So you can read more about it. It's a very important a question. You must read all the things that has been written here. Question number 12. With reference to portfolio system in the colonial India, consider the following statement. Portfolio system means departmental wise. It was introduced by the Act of 1833, transforming the Viceroy's India's Executive Council into cabinet run on the portfolio system. So in the first statement, it is said that by the Act of 1833 it was done. No, by the Indian Council Act of 1861 it was done. Second statement says that Lord Canning was the figure associated with the establishment of the system. Yes, in the year I think 1859. So 1859 he introduced this portfolio system. And third, the Act took away ordinance making power of the Viceroy. No, it didn't took away the. It actually allowed the ordinance making power of the Viceroy. The portfolio system was repealed by the Government of India Act of 1935. So no, it was repealed by the Act of Government of India Act 1915, not 35. So let us read more. So only statement number 2 is correct and rest all are wrong. So let us read more about it. So the Indian Council Act of 1861, that is what I have told you, was an act of the Parliament of the United Kingdom that transformed the Viceroy's Executive Council into cabinet to run the portfolio system. So the cabinet had 6 ordinary members who each took charge of a separate department in Calcutta's government, like home, revenue, military, law, finance, and after 1874 public works also. So the second statement that I have told you, it was correct. Lord Canning was the person who introduced this. The Viceroy was allowed to issue ordinances lasting 6 months if the Legislative Council is not in session in an emergency, just like President's ordinance time limit. The Act empowered the Viceroy to make rules and orders for the more convenient transaction of business in the Council. It also gave a recognition to the portfolio system introduced by Lord Canning in 1859. So that's what I have told you. In 1859, Lord Canning introduced it, and by the Act of 1861, Indian Council Act of 1861, it got a formal recognition. The Act of 1861 was repealed by the Government of India Act 1915. So you can read more about it. It's also a very important question, so you must read all about it here. Next question, 13. The policy of His Majesty government with which the Government of India are in complete accord is that of increasing association of Indians in every branch of the administration and the gradual development of self-governing institution with a view to the progressive realization of responsible government in India is an integral part of the British Empire. So it was actually, these statements were actually said by Montague. So he was Secretary of State in the year 1917, and he said all this statement, and he said that Government of India is in complete accord with associating Indians with every branch of the administration, and gradually these self-governing institution will have a progressive realization of responsible government. So all this was said in the year 1917 by Secretary of State Montague. So you can now make out the correct answer. So was it Sepoy Mutiny? No. Was it First World War? Yes. Again, 1914 to 18. So this statement was said in 1917. So this correct answer is B. So the rest are wrong. Question number 14. The Tashkent Agreement contained the provisions of A. No war pact between India and Pakistan. Second, no interference in each other's internal affairs. So if you have even not read this topic, or if you do not know about what is Tashkent Agreement and what all happened, so you can make a logical decision which of the following statements are correct. So if there was a no war pact, so Kargil war, which took place in the year 2000, wouldn't have taken place if such no war between India and Pakistan was there. So such things wouldn't have happened. So Tashkent Agreement did not contain any no war pact between India and Pakistan, but the second statement, which says non-interference in each other's internal affairs, this is correct. So the only statement correct is B, 2 only. So you can read more about it here. 15th, Ukraine, Georgia, Romania, Turkey includes which of the following seas? So if you see the options, even if you don't know the correct option, if you see Mediterranean Sea, so if you talk about Mediterranean Sea, so it encloses the European countries and the African countries, as well as some part of the Western Asian countries. So definitely Ukraine, Georgia, Romania and Turkey will not do not include Mediterranean Sea. So Red Sea also gets eliminated by the same, because it is enclosed by countries of Africa as well as Saudi Arabia and Yemen. So Red Sea also gets eliminated. So the two options that are left are Caspian Sea or Black Sea. So I have told in one of my videos, like international relations August 2018 Vision IS video, I have told where I was talking about Caspian Sea special legal status. So it's a very, very important topic. So there I have told that how many countries, 5 countries that engulf that surround Caspian Sea, and how to remember them. So the 5 countries that surround Caspian Sea are Turkmenistan, Azerbaijan, Russia, Iran and Kazakhstan. So how to remember them? So if you can remember them with Tariq. we say like date in English and Tariq in Hindi. So TARIK, T for Turkmenistan, A for Azerbaijan, R for Russia, I for Iran, and K for Kazakhstan. So none of them is here. So it is definitely, the answer is Black Sea. So you can see in this diagram, Black Sea is there, and all the countries that surround it are Bulgaria, Romania, Ukraine, Russia, Georgia, and Turkey. So how to remember this? I have made a mnemonic for this. How to remember it? Mnemonic for this, that is, if you can say brew, like brew is brew coffee that you take. So brew, B for Bulgaria, R for Romania, and U for Ukraine, brew. And the rest ones are Russia, Georgia, Turkey, RGT. So brew is always right. So brew is Bulgaria, Romania, and Ukraine, and is always right. So RGT right, Russia, Georgia, and Turkey. So thereby you can learn the 6 countries that surround the Black Sea and 5 countries that surround Caspian Sea. So question number 16. India was declared a sovereign state from. So this is a very easy question. So A, 26 January 1950 with the coming of the constitution as in force. B, 26 November 1949 with the completion of the constitution. C, August 15, 1947 with India's independence. And D, September 2nd, 1946 with the formation of the first interim cabinet from the newly elected Constituent Assembly. So it was on August 15, 1947 with India's independence. India was declared a sovereign state. That is why that is on this day India and Pakistan were 2 sovereign countries were created out of like earlier like it was created from India, Pakistan and India, 2 countries were created. So and they were and India was given a sovereign status at that time only, but India chose to be under the dominion status till June 1948. So you can read more about it here, but it was given a sovereign status in August 15, 1947. So you can read more about it here. Question number 17. Consider the following statements. The system of budget was, okay, this question is highly important. Question number 17, this is highly important. The system of budget was introduced in the British India in 1833 by the then Finance Minister of India, James Wilson. So it was not in the year 1833, it was in the year 1869. Okay, so the first system of budget was introduced in the year 1869 by the Finance Minister of India, that was James Wilson. And second statement, the first union budget of independent India was presented by Liaquat Ali Khan, the first finance minister in the interim government, on August 26, 1949. So this statement, okay, if you say that Liaquat Ali Khan was the first finance minister in the interim government, this is correct, but the first union budget of independent India was presented in the year 1947 itself, on 26 November 1947 itself. So it was the same year when India got its independence. Our first union budget was presented, not by Liaquat Ali Khan, because Liaquat Ali Khan was the finance minister in the interim government, but when the first union budget of independent India was proposed, it was done by Sir R.K. Shanmugam Chetty on 26 November 1947. So this is a very important name, because last year in the KBC also this question came, that who was the first finance minister of India, independent India. So it was Sir R.K. Shanmugam Chetty. So this is a very important thing. And also in the first statement, when it says that the first budget of British India was presented in 1869, so the coming exam is in 2019, so 99. So this becomes a very important question in itself. So you can read more about it, and it's a very important question, so you must read all about this in the answer justification. 18th question. For a fundamental right to be amended in the Lok Sabha, how many members at least should be present, assuming that all of them vote in favor of the bill. So it is very like easy question. Like the special majority requires one half of the total strength of the house plus 2/3 of the present and voting. So if in the case of, because it is asking in the case of Lok Sabha, the total strength of the house is 545 divided by 2, that is 273. So the at least 273 people should be there, assuming that all of them vote for the bill. So you can read more about it if you don't know about the special majority case. Question number 19. How are ideas of private property treated in the capitalist and socialist economy? So in the capitalist economy like USA, there is a free market, and the government doesn't interfere in the free market, and it doesn't interfere in the ideas of private property and the government property. So this is not something that is governed by the government of the day in the capitalist economy. But in the socialist economy, the major part of the land is under the government itself, and it's a government land. And though private sector also is there, but a lot of it comes under the government. So the statement one that says the private property is more tightly regulated in the socialist economy than in the capital economy, so it is wrong. It is more tightly, first statement is correct. So private property is more tightly regulated in the socialist economy, because in the capitalist economy it is a free flow market and the government does not interfere, it does not regulate. The government does not believe in the idea of equitable economic distribution. This is not something that the capitalist economy government believes in. Second, the state owns major means of production as a socialist economy, unlike the capitalist economy. Again, the second statement is also correct. So C, both 1 and 2 are correct. So you can read more about it. Question number 20. A constitution usually does not serve which of the following function? So ensuring some kind of coordination between the members of a nation, it does serve, because we have the type of government, whether we want which type of government and who will the order of the governance and the selection of bureaucracy and all these things. So we have a coordination between the members of a nation. So B, specifies allocation of power in the nation in a skeletal form. Yes, we have like the president and the prime minister and the cabinet ministers and the other council of ministers, and similarly in the state also we have the same structure. So it is also not right. The third one says brings in the rule of law in a society. So article 14 of the constitution, which comes under part 3, says that everyone is equal in front of law. So this is also not correct. Distribute economic resources within the population. So like what I have said, that like in the capitalist economy there is no something being talking about the equitable distribution of economic resources among the population. So this is not something that most of the economies in the world follow. So D is the answer. Though we have this equitable distribution of economic resources within our DPSP, part 4 of the constitution, but this is not something that you can go to courts and are not justifiable. So you cannot go to court and say that DPSP is this article of DPSP is not being followed. So this is not something which is justifiable. So you can read more about it here. 21. With reference to Artificial Limbs Manufacturing Corporation of India, LMCO, consider the following statement. LMCO is a not-for-profit organization working under the administrative control of Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. So this is correct. Second, it is 100% owned by the government of India. It's a mini Ratna, central public sector enterprise. This is also correct. The corporation is the only manufacturing company producing various types of assistive devices under one roof to serve all the types of disability across the country. This is also correct. So the answer is D, 1, 2 and 3 only. So you can read more about this here. Question number 22. World Health Organization has recently validated which of these South Asian countries for having eliminated trachoma as a public health problem. So it is Nepal. So trachoma is a disease, it's an eye infectious disease which is caused by bacteria, and WHO has proclaimed that Nepal is the first country in the Southeastern Asian region to defeat this world's leading infectious disease which causes blindness. So it is more common in children, and since it's an infective disease, and this is caused by poor environmental and personal hygiene and inadequate access to water and sanitation, and it affects the conjunctiva under the eyelids, and repeated infections can cause in-turning of the eyelashes and eyelids, and further causes damage to the cornea and causes blindness. So you can read more about it here. And Nepal is the first country in the Southeastern Asian region to eliminate trachoma. Very important. 23. The major features of the parliamentary government in India is or are collective responsibility of the executive to the legislature. Yes, that is why all the executive are responsible to the legislature. Second, leadership of the Prime Minister. Yes. Third, complete separation of the legislature and executive organ. No, we do not have a watertight sort of situation in our country. There is no like separation of executive and legislature, because members of the executive are part of legislature, like the Prime Minister, Council of Ministers are also members of the Parliament. So statement third is wrong, and 1 and 2 only are the correct one. So you can read more about it here. Question number 24. With reference to MSME in India, consider the following statement. They contribute nearly 1/3 of the gross value added in the economy. Correct. They receive over 50% of the total credit flow from the scheduled banks. So this is not correct. They do not receive more than 50%. According to Economic Service 2017-18, MSME sector got only 17.4% of the total credit, while the larger enterprises got 82.6% of the credit. Means loans disbursed by the banks were given 82% to the larger enterprise and only 17.4% to the MSME sector. So statement 2 is wrong. Third, Prime Minister Employment Generation Program is aimed at generating self-employment opportunity by establishing micro enterprises in the non-farm sector. So the important thing to notice, first, it's a self-employment generating programs, yes, and it is at the micro enterprise level, yes, and for the non-farm sector, not for the farming sector, but for the non-farm sector. So this is also correct. Credit guarantee schemes for the MSME covers collateral free credit facility for MSME. Yes, this is also correct. An example for this is Mudra, micro unit development and refinancing. I think refinancing, something of this is there. Agency. So Mudra is micro units development and refinancing agency. So you can read more about it here. This is also an important question. And last question, which of the following provisions of the Constitution reveal the secular character of the Indian states? So in the preamble also secular is written. In the DPSP also secular nature is also promoted, as well as in the fundamental rights. That is why Article 14, 15, 16, 25, 26 and 27 to 30, all these also promote secular nature in the country. So the term secular was added by the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act of 1976. So earlier, while the Constitution was framed, it was not there, but by the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act of 1976, secular term was added to the preamble. And in DPSP Uniform Civil Code, Article 44 also says that there is a secular character of the Indian state, and states will not and for the fundamental rights also, that I have said that Article 14, 15, 16, 25, 26 and 27 to 30 holds the value of secularism. So that's it for today. Thank you very much. We'll discuss from 26 to 50 questions of mock test 1 in the coming lecture series. So thank you very much.